Another bloody day in America. Another mass shooting in the news. Well, here's a little message from Canada.
David, it's been a while since we spoke, so thank you very much for making time for me for this interview. Right off the top, because of the way the world as we speak is right now, how are you doing throughout all this?
Well, it's my pleasure, Rudy. We've all got a lot of time on our hands right now, so it's not like I'm sparing anything.
No, definitely not. But you know what? You're giving us some great music, though, and especially it's kind of funny saying something is. Can you almost consider like what's going on right now could be part of this song or this album, I should say?
Well, you know, when a record comes out, it's a result of maybe a year and a half of writing and preparing. So when we conceived of this album, we had no idea that we were going to be into this right now. So it was kind of prophetic in some ways.
Well, let's talk about this because this, especially when you see the music video, really says it all. How did you come up with this concept? Because, again, it really is about what's been going on with the world for the last, let's say, 2-3 years.
2-3 years? Yeah, well, let's put it politely. You mean post-Trump?
There you go.
Yeah, and he's in there, too. The song King Midas, obviously, is about Trump. I'm sorry, go back. Your question was?
Just, coming up with this, the concept, the words, everything else, because let's face it, you don't hold back on this.
No, not at all. It's been getting tremendous reviews. I'm really so happy with the press that's coming in from this album. They all seem to get it. And the one guy said that, speaking about me, at his age, he's simply run out of give-a-shits. I changed the word. Actually, I softened it a little bit. The word was not exactly shits, but anyway.
Well,
the meaning is the same.
I think I want to get to is, like, where was it or what was going on at the moment when you said, this is ridiculous? I mean, were you watching the news or something? You said, I need to do something. I need to write something. And then the concept of the album came up. That's where I want to start.
Well, you know, I'm not a writer who just writes because I'm going into the studio to do an album. I believe a writer writes every day. I have my little laptop on the coffee table in front of me, and when an idea pops in my mind, I type it down. And it may get used, it may not get used. And by the end of about a year or so of doing that, I had put together about 25, maybe 30 sets of lyric. And then I started collaborating with the guys in my band. I would call a guy over here, like Eric St. Laurent would come over. We'd sit with a couple of acoustic guitars. And I'd read him the lyrics. And when one struck a note with him, I know what to do with that. And he'd start playing along with it. And we went with that song. So it was an evolving thing. And then one day I was working on a piece of music here with George Kohler, and he said, wow, this record really says something. I went, I typed that down. I made a note of that right away, and the record became called Say Something. And that was the intent.
And the video itself, too, and I'm really...
Which video are we talking about here? There's 3 of them out there right now.
Oh, I've only seen one. I've seen the one where basically it's all the news clips that are put together. You said there are 3. What are the 3?
Never Again has a video.
Mm-hmm.
The System has a video. And the new single, The Circus. There's also a video on YouTube for that.
So it's the first one I had a chance to see, but I didn't know about the other ones, though.
The Never Again song.
Yes, there you go.
And that's about gun violence, you know. And I've gotten a lot of flack for that one. I've taken a lot of heat for it because mostly it's from Americans who say, what right have you got? You're a Canadian. How dare you criticize us? Because the song basically takes note of the fact that there's a mass shooting weekly in the States, sometimes daily. You know, I remember one day there was 2 of them in one day. I think it was El Paso and somewhere in Colorado. and they all blur together. You just grow numb. And I thought, why doesn't that happen up here? And who better to speak to that than a Canadian who does not have a mass shooting every 3 days? And of course, the big difference is you can't buy semi-automatic machine guns up here. Our gun control laws are very sensible and something we should be very, very proud of. It's totally out of control in the States, of course. And then, of course, once we cut the tune, I sent it down to the kids at Parkland, David Hogg and his sister and whatnot, and they were thrilled that somebody was actually writing music about their situation. And I actually changed the lyrics once we got into the studio. I changed the lyrics to the second chorus to put the kids of Parkland in there, because they're speaking common sense, and like Sandy Hook. How can 22 little children, 5 and 6 years old, be gunned down, and the American Congress does nothing? Zero. They talk about it. They say thoughts and prayers thoughts and prayers do something, right? But anyway, the song was directed that way. Well, the record company wanted to put it out as a single because it's obviously the most abrasive and controversial song on the record. And we put it out, and they tried to advertise it on Facebook, and Facebook banned it.
Wow.
So apparently it's against the law. It's against regulations on Facebook to tell people don't shoot each other.
It's time to get real. It's time to get tough. It's time someone said enough is enough. The children are crying. The message is plain. Whatever it takes. Never again.
Incredible. What's for the album itself? What is the message that you're hoping that you get across to fans?
Well, there's 10 songs, and so there's 10 separate messages. It addresses gun control and never again. It addresses climate change in the precipice. It kind of lampoons Donald Trump in the King Midas song. It speaks of government in general in the song The Circus, where it has become a ridiculous bloody circus, and so each song has got a different point of view. So there's no one point of view in the album, except that there's a lot of things out there that piss me off, and I want to write about them.
And it sounds like it's pissing a lot of other people off, too. So, look, before we go, though, I have to ask, any chance you can be writing another book?
The Blood, Sweat, and Tears book was published in 2007, and so much has happened since 2007 that I thought, I could write another book just about the last 15 years. But my energies this year have gone into making this record. And then, of course, we've canceled dates like crazy. We were supposed to do 2 concerts last week and gone. And, so we're basically like everybody else here. We're sitting at home, watching our TVs. I've started writing again, but I'm a long way away from finishing the next one. Right now, I think we're all kind of in shock.
Absolutely. But I'm looking forward to whatever you decide to put together, and hopefully we'll be hearing even more great music in another year or so. But we've got this right now that we can listen to. So I got to say thank you so much for making time for me for this interview. Social media, where do we go to follow you?
Oh, all of them. Facebook, Twitter. I have a girl who takes care of all that. I'm not really that good at it. I surf around Facebook just to see what people are saying, but I'm not really very handy with it. So she does all the social media stuff.
Well, we can definitely find you, and we can definitely find the great music. Sir, I want to say again, thank you so much for making time for me. You be safe. Same thing to your family, and hopefully next time we get a chance to talk, it'll be in person.
All right, Rudy, this too shall pass.
Definitely. Take care, my friend. Bye-bye.
Have a good day.
It's time to get